Make chewy oatmeal cookies recipe. Though oatmeal cookies sound a lot healthier than their double chocolate or chocolate chip counterparts, they are actually not. Like the latter, oatmeal cookies, though made of healthy oats and dried fruit and nuts, still have fatty and bad ingredients in them like butter, loads of sugar, eggs, white flour and the works. But who cares, right? Oatmeal cookies are irresistibly tasty, most especially if you have a knack for texture in food, and of course if that batch of cookies is baked into chewy perfection. No one can tell whose idea was it to add dried fruits on his cookies, but whoever that person is, the world owes him for this wonderful concoction for the sweet tooth. As mentioned earlier, the best oatmeal cookies are those that are made soft and chewy. As you know, it takes some skill and a lot of patience to perfect baking chewy cookies. But the easiest to follow trick here would be to remember that cookies are better off underbaked than overdone. Apparently, cookies continue to bake even minutes after you have taken them out of your oven. If you want to try out baking soft and chewy oatmeal cookies, then this recipe is for you. In making this recipe, you will need the following ingredients and materials. 2 cups of all-purpose white flour, 1–1/4 cups of rolled oats, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 a pound or 1 cup of softened butter, 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1–1/2 cups of raisins, oven mixing bowl, spatula, baking sheets, electric beater or mixer, parchment paper. You can also use vegetable shortening spray, cookie scoop or tablespoon. Once you have all these ingredients and materials ready, you are now set to bake the most moist and chewy oatmeal raisin cookies ever. Just follow these easy steps. Preheat oven. Turn the knob to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and make sure that your oven is well heated by the time you start putting in your baking trays. Prep your baking sheets. For the cookie dough to retain its fluffiness, it'd be good to have your baking sheets prepped and ready for your cookie dough drops. So, before you even start mixing your ingredients, line all your baking trays with parchment paper or spray them with vegetable shortening. Combine your dry ingredients in a large and separate mixing bowl. Except for your white and brown sugar, that is. Beat your butter. To make it fluffy, it is best to use an electric beater or mixer. Gradually add the sugar. Once your butter has become thick and fluffy, you can start pouring in your sugars bit by continuing to beat the mixture. This will enable it to retain its volume and fluffiness. Add your eggs one at a time. Then again, continue beating. Add the vanilla and continue beating. Slowly add the mixture of dry ingredients while beater is on low speed. You will notice that at this point in time, your dough is starting to form. One tip is to continue mixing until you no longer find spots and lumps of white flour all over your dough. Add your raisins and stir. Start scooping. This is the fun part, and even young children can do this. If baking for you is a family activity, then you might as well bring in your children to help. Bake for 10 to 12 minutes. For this step, the best way to check when your cookies are good to go is to pay attention to its edges. If they start to brown and are firm when touched, then they are most likely cooked. Cool completely on your cooling rack. With this recipe alone, you can make 25 to 30 warm, moist, and chewy cookies to serve to your family and friends. Enjoy.